Redditors who have used one of those TV commercial lawyers. How'd it go? I called one, and they took a few days to get back to me. I thought they were getting back to me to discuss my case, but in fact they were only getting back to me to schedule a time to discuss my case. They asked me when would be a good time, and I told them, no, that is a bad time. Your appointment is this date at this time. We will call you. I cancelled my plans and they never called. When they did call, several days later at an even worse time, I said, you know, I don't think I want to hire you. You have a very odd grasp of time and I don't think you want my case or respect me at all. The woman cursed me out and called me unprofessional. Bitch, you're supposed to be the professional here. Former attorney here. The ones who advertise over and over to do the same thing are the ones you want to hire. They are not serious attorneys who want to make a difference in the world. They have one mission, to make money, and tons of it. They are processing machines who are good at what they do because of repetition. Not me, but my friend was in the 7th grade. He was riding his bike back from school. He was on the sidewalk and was about to cross an alley that ran between two buildings. As he was crossing, a big delivery truck was pulling out, hit my friend. He broke both arms, a few ribs, and had a pneumothorax. The truck driver ended up being drunk and my friend got the settlement money put into his college fund. But I'm sure that would have been the outcome, even if he didn't call the ad on the TV. Seems like a pretty cut and dry case. My mom hired one when I was young. She had a misdemeanor charge that was not her fault. She only had one meeting after the consultation with one of the lawyers that was promised on TV to be with the customer every step of the way. On her court date she was expecting her lawyer, but a completely different lawyer came. Now, lawyer didn't really give her a reason why that happened. This lawyer was not helpful to my mom at all. The lawyer didn't really speak up for my mom that much. Before they got into the courtroom, they were talking. My mom had to repeat parts of her story 2 or more times because that lady was incompetent for her to understand. My mom got lucky that the judge believed in her case and didn't press charges. Also, my mom speaks limited English and she wanted a lawyer that knew Spanish to help her translate whatever she didn't understand. The court sent in a worker to help translate whatever my mom didn't understand because the lawyer could not. The court worker honestly helped my mom more than her lawyer. I hired Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer. Well, it wasn't him personally of course, but someone at his firm. It went well. I hired them after a car accident. They took a good chunk of the money I was given, but they got me a lot more than I thought I'd get. Not exactly in this category but related. I used to answer phone calls for Becca Law Office and the only calls we got were prank calls from young children. We would scare them by telling them we were going to contact the caller ID, generally their parents' name. The ones that advertise most here, Australia, are the biggest firms. There's a couple firms that advertise on radio a lot for specific areas of law, trauma related medical claims, or divorce. Radio probably makes more sense for them because it's such a narrow percentage of the population looking for a tax lawyer on any given day. Generally if I needed a lawyer, I'd ask the big boss at work for his recommendations. Unless the issue was with him, then I'd ask my union. Mine was dishonest. He hid a medical report and strongly urged me to sign without me seeing this report. They had an arbitrator clause and he changed the date of the hearing without informing me of the date change, and so I didn't win. Somehow, he was able to remove all references to this, so that lawsuits couldn't be found after I sued him. This was a personal injury and he was very corrupt. I had others that were on TV nearly as much, and they did their job just fine. It's hard to tell which are corrupt and which aren't. I called them about getting disability payments. I initially was not happy about the lack of communication and did not really think I could win, especially because it's mostly my mental health. I pretty much just held my breath for 2 years going through the whole denial/appeal process, and at the end of those very long 2 years I got a letter that said I won my case. I'm a defense attorney in a field where there are a lot of attorneys on the other side advertising their services. In my personal experience, the largest ones of these firms are absolute mills. They hire young attorneys who, in many cases, aren't much more than a warm body with a bar license who can pick out the right template and sign it, and then present the bullet-pointed arguments in court. They also generally are incredibly overworked, and rarely will do anything to push your case, because they simply don't have time. Most of the time, it's me driving the case along trying to get it done. Half their day is spent in court responding to defense motions just trying to get them to do more than a half-ass job on something. I can't tell you the number of times I've tried so hard to settle cases only to get completely ignored. I literally can't give money away when it comes to some of these firms. Don't get me wrong, if your case has merit you're going to get paid. But you're getting paid because it's the right decision for the defendant to make, whether morally or as a business decision, not because your attorney earned you that money. I was selling some Marxy on the side, and this old bald dude was costing me a fortune to guard me, so I kicked him to the curb. Anyway, I'm come rolling up in my baller bright yellow Hummer with spinners, and the creepy looking dude I sell my stash to rifled through my glove box. Couple days later, my baseball card collection was stolen. These cards were cream of the crop and hard to come by, and these goofy cops kept calling me into the station. I call this shady guy on TV, and next thing I know I'm crying while I squat in pie. Got my cards back, but lost my Hummer. Wouldn't recommend. I know two people who did this. One from a sticker on a payphone while calling to get a lawyer to get him out of jail, and another from an ad for a divorce lawyer on a billboard. The one who called from jail got out of jail. It was a trumped up drunk and disorderly in public when he had passed out from an insulin drop. When it went to court, they dropped the charges. Since no alcohol blood test was given, he had a tag that said he was diabetic, and he had proof he was a diabetic. He was just found passed out on the Smithsonian Mall. The other went okay. They had a standard settlement that they would split the assets and forfeit alimony. It was a clean break. They referred me to someone else who told me I had to run up hospital and doctor bills because I could only sue for those amounts. I tried to explain I had no money to cover said bills and that's why I needed to sue, and they told me to call them back when I did. Then every Christmas they'd send me a daily planner for the next year as a gift for being a client. My back still goes out about twice a month, but at least I can track the days I miss work. I use Lowell the Hammer Stanley as a plaintiff in the matter of an MVA where I was not at fault. Obviously the guy on TV is an actor. The entire team was professional and courteous. The actual Mr. Stanley was a super cool dude, and though it wasn't him who represented me personally, the court outcome was more than fair on my part. Well, I went in for my consultation, and the secretary looked like she just rolled out of bed. I didn't get to meet TV lawyer guy, but one of his fresh out of law school minions. This kid is wearing sweats and a hoodie. We do the consultation, says he'll be in touch. A few weeks go by, and he calls me to tell me my case isn't worth their time. So I got hit by a girl texting and driving while I was putting my newborn son in his car seat. I was off work for 2 weeks because my back hurt like hell and was all bruised. I didn't go to the ER after the accident and didn't have medical bills, so to an injury lawyer I'm a worthless client. I settled with insurance on my own, and I did just fine. I'm interning with a non-advertising firm and was given the job of calling one of those commercial law firms to work out a date for a trial. They're the plaintiffs. It's their trial. I have called them constantly. The lawyer, his secretary, the front desk. I don't know how they stay in business given the fact that they're never around to take my call. I gave up. If they don't want to schedule their own damn case, I have no incentive to make them. I can't even imagine how shitty they must be to their own clients if they won't even call back another firm to schedule their own court dates. If there is one thing I've learned in law, it is that non-lawyers are exceptionally poor judges of who is a good attorney. A monkey could win your clear-cut injury case. A monkey could get you a good deal on a low-level criminal case. And most of the work in most cases goes on behind the scenes. Honestly, I think many lawyers just aren't honest with people and inflate the value of their services. Older sister had a coworker whose son called a TV lawyer. He works at a giant chain retailer in an at-will state and where unions are told to fuck off. He slipped on an unmarked water puddle and tore up his knee worse than a standard ACL tear. Employer said they would take care of everything. He called a local TV lawyer when employer took care of nothing and basically said get back to work. The response he got back from the lawyer was basically I don't piss where I sleep. He was later advised to seek workers' comp through the state. Hope he's getting proper care and compensation for that now. Dude's in his mid-20s and already will need his knee replaced every so often the rest of his life.